Hello everyone, my name is Michelle, and this video is for giving you a brief explanation of what curriculum is. So to start, it's quite difficult to explain what is curriculum because there are two perspectives that we have to take in account to can define it. The first perspective is called technical or scientific perspective, which is based on formal methods. This perspective is divided in three approaches: the behavioral, managerial, and system approach. These three approaches are mainly focused on the curricular success, so they consider that the knowledge that you have at the end of a course of a subject is the most important part of the learning process. For that, the behavioral approach considers goals, objectives, and step-by-step strategies as the initial part of the learning process. On the other hand, the managerial approach considers schools and educators or administrators as a social system, so they are codependent one another to make this process work. So, but they still focused on material things like resources, space, equipment, personal organization. Those, as I said, those material things that make you feel comfortable in your learning environment. And the third approach, which is called system approach, there is very important aspect, which is called total quality management. As I said at first, this perspective considers knowledge as the most important part, but in this third approach, the knowledge is being classified in four groups, which are intended to identify the knowledge that you have in your brain about a specific subject or a specific matter. But you also have to know how to express that knowledge, and the knowledge that you acquire when you are sharing, when you are communicating, when you are comparing with others. So departing from this point, which is considered human communication as important part of learning process, suggests the non-technical and non-scientific perspective, which is based on experimental activities. This perspective is also divided in three approaches: academic, humanistic, and the most actual approach, which is called postmodern approach. These three aspects consider also the knowledge as important, but they consider humanistic approaches as at the same level of importance that knowledge. So the academic approach still consider the structure of knowledge as important, but they have to have a historical base or a psychological base to make the knowledge significant for learners. The second approach is the humanistic approach, which considers the child as a center. So the learner have to be human before learner. So you have psychological necessities that you have to have to be able to express, to be able to feel comfortable in your learning context. These aspects are ego, identity, personal fulfillment, psychological health, and you have to feel free to learn, because there are many learning strategies, many learning styles, many teaching strategies, and you have to find in which one you feel better to learn. And this approach is quite interesting because it proposes to share this big responsibility. This learning responsibility is kind of hard just to be carried for the learner. So this responsibility have to be shared among students, teachers, but also with parents, because parents are part of the real context where the learners are involved. So they are important part of this step-by-step strategy. So to conclude this perspective, the postmodern approach, which is the most actual argument to define curriculum, considers the influence of economical, political, and social forces in the learning environment. So these aspects have to be managed with control, because in the first perspective, a teacher is seen as an oppressor, so the learner can be involved in those real contexts. So to conclude, to summarize this curriculum definition, yes, definition is a plan to achieve goals, to achieve predetermined objectives, but they are divided in two groups, but at the same they work together, because you need to feel comfortable, you have to understand others, you have to respect yourself and respect others to increase your knowledge. And at the end, we are learning, because we want to express, we want to communicate. So curriculum has to get together those social, personal, and academic aspects to make us learners, better person, better parts of this social system. So when you are part of a system, you have to work, you have to express what you want, what you have learned, and you have to be able to respect, to acquire more knowledge. In that way, you can increase that knowledge that you have developed during this period of time, and you have to be able to reflect what you have learned, and you have to be able to understand that you have this academic knowledge because you need it for your real context. Thank you for watching. That's it. Have a nice night.